Hey, what's up, everyone? I got here JT of HECO Studio on the call with me. Hey, JT, so nice to finally get to know you. I've been following your work for a while now, really admiring what you do. So thanks for taking the time to call with me.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So listen, I've been again, as I said, looking at your amazing, beautiful websites, which some of them won, awards websites and were, featured, and the fact that you've built them with Webflow, and I've been like looking at the really cool interaction and little hacks that you did there, and you kind of just blew my mind in terms of stuff that I couldn't even think were possible with Webflow, but you just kind of really were creative about this, which I really admire. So I kind of wanted to hear from your perspective how you found out about Webflow, how it changed the way that you work in your studio, what was it like before, and how you're working with right now.
Yeah. Hey everyone. Hey internet. I'm JT. um, yeah, Webflow. Uh, it did kind of completely change things for HECO. Before discovering Webflow, I've been in the agency world for over a decade now. My business partner Matt, we've also worked together for about that length of time. Yeah, we've been in interactive agencies, done marketing campaigns, tons of web work, tons of apps, and I've always been mostly on the design side. So I've been kind of a self-taught front-end developer over the years, and just kind of learning as I go. I try to keep up with it. It helps with communication with real developers, and for a long time, I didn't consider myself a real developer. I would kind of uh, keep my development to my own personal projects, or my portfolio site, simple things like that. Um, but yeah, it's hard for me to remember when I first heard about Webflow. I think I've been kind of hearing murmurs about it for a few years, but it was also a personal project when I first kind of dove in. I got married about 2 years ago and
Yeah,
decided,
I saw the
yeah,
website that you did for your wedding.
yeah,
That was pretty cool. So that
yeah.
was your
That
first
was my
website.
first, absolutely my first foray with Webflow. I thought, kind of lower risk. If I have to default back to a Squarespace or something, I can do that. Um, but I just kind of wanted to stretch my legs with it and see what was possible. And that experience was super smooth. I was kind of shocked. I built the site in a day or two, got it live, got some compliments on it. It's a very simple site, like one page scroller, no heavy interactions, but some cute animations here and there, a little slideshow. Um, but yeah, I think the ease of that and how I was able to essentially design in the platform. Usually I'm designing in Sketch, kind of transferring that vision into development or working with a developer to see that through. But for the website, I just kind of built it and designed it at the same time. And that was kind of another sort of eye opener for me. I kind of cut the process in half essentially.
So
And
you actually did the design itself inside of Webflow?
yeah,
That
I just
cool.
designed it as I made it. Yes.
Ah, that's cool.
I would jump back to Sketch sometimes to build little assets and patterns and motifs and stuff to use. But yeah,
So what
yeah, it
was the
was.
first time that you actually used it for a real proper client work at the agency?
So it right after that. Oh man, I'm trying to think now. Okay, so right after that, HECO. So Matt and I, my business partner, we sort of officialized HECO and decided, we've been freelancing together for a few years. We have our stable of own clients. Let's kind of formalize this, make it a real company. We need a website. So our portfolio site was actually the first real project we
The
did
one
with
that's
it.
live now with the waves and everything?
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, so that was my first kind of big endeavor with it. It took a ton of time, um, mostly in exploration and kind of like learning the platform and pushing. it's pushing it a little bit too. I think another cool thing about Webflow is you're licensed to experiment and find creative ways to use it. It's not limiting like most other builder platforms in that like you can't kind of you can't always swim against the grain. People have it's gotten to the point where agencies in small studios can build a website with Squarespace and give that to their clients. Some clients even ask for it because it's just familiar and everything. But I always tell clients with that, like you kind of have to swim with the stream.
Yeah.
You
Personally,
got to
for
do
me,
what,
like
yeah,
customizing Squarespace template is just so difficult.
it's very difficult. Yeah, I think, and Webflow just comes at it from a different angle. It's kind of custom first. If you
Yeah.
don't know web development, it may be a more difficult tool to learn. But if you do know some web development, even someone like me who's much more visually trained and design oriented, it's still, it's got everything you need. So
So the first
it's
real
funny. I
website,
sound
so
like I
let me
sound
get
like an
this right.
advertisement for Webflow all the time.
It's okay. It's okay. They're the sponsors of the channel, so it's okay. No, but I'm really intrigued because like the first proper website, it won awards, right? It was like I think
Yeah,
mind blowing. That's that's crazy.
yeah. I mean
Did you
that was
aim
the
for
real
that, or
test for
like what was
us.
the process around that? Were you
Um,
saying like let's do like specifically cool things so that we can win awards for that and get recognition, or like what was the
I mean,
process around that?
yeah, yeah. I think it's always something that's maybe in the back of my mind. I'm not. I've never been sort of an award hunter, and some people just kind of live for that in every project. Like that's the goal. I think for us, we wanted to just be honest with who we were, and I think who we are is a company that's going to look for inventive ways to do things and try to be as kind of clear, concise, but creative too. Is just sort of our philosophy. So um, we led with that. But yeah, as we got into the interactions and everything, like we got pretty hopeful. Like, man, I like you start surprising yourself with how kind of things are turning out, and we hoped we'd get some recognition, but it got way bigger than we expected for sure.
Yeah, that's great. I was like digging in so deep to see how you've created that stuff, and I was like, "Whoa, this is like genius." So, what was your client's reaction when you told them like I'm gonna build a website with Webflow instead of Squarespace or something like that?
We've had that conversation many times now because it's been about a year since we first launched the HECO site. That's kind of been our best argument for Webflow. We can just point to our website and say we built this with
Okay.
Webflow.
Hmm.
And I think
And they do
the
not
CMS
say stuff like,
capabilities.
"Hey, but I never heard about them," or "I'm used to whatever Squarespace, WordPress, whatever."
We get that, but I think there's a lot of appetite out there for change. We don't find too many clients pushing back on us. I
That's
think,
amazing.
yeah, we kind of come in and just say, like, here's, sometimes clients have heard of Webflow, sometimes they haven't, but either way, we just kind of say, it's a newer platform to the game, but they're innovating in a ton of ways. We've built not a nice stable of websites now with it, and it's hard to reach its limitations, and I think also on the client's benefit side, it's really easy to argue how much cleaner the CMS is than
Yeah,
WordPress
obviously.
kind of comes with a big learning curve from the client standpoint.
Yeah.
If they're not familiar with WordPress, it's pretty daunting, and there's a lot of options in there. And I think Webflow's ability to let you kind of customize the right CMS options for the client simplifies their
Yeah.
job, I think.
So, by the way, how would you used to work before, like in previous agencies when you were freelancing? Would you contract work out to developers, or would you just work with Squarespace and just do what you can do yourself?
mostly contracting with developers. I've always been more on the custom build side, so I'm just more interested in doing untemplated things for
Yeah,
clients. Really kind of tailoring it to their brand and their needs. So yeah.
that's cool.
Before,
So
I was
yeah,
always in bigger studio settings. They usually had developers in
mm,
house and everything. So yeah.
yeah, that's super cool. So what's the future for HECO? Like what projects are you working on now? Like where do you visualize this going?
Oh man. Well, we just launched a website for Second City, called Second City Works. It's I don't know if you know of it there, but in the U.S. it's a comedy institution in
Okay.
Chicago
No,
where
I never heard of it.
everyone from Chris Farley, Tina Fey, Stephen Colbert, everyone came up through this school.
Okay,
And
cool.
we just launched secondcityworks.com, which is a sort of the business to business side of the, so like business development side of their company. So a big part of their company, by far the biggest website that HECO has done in terms of scale. Um, and yeah, we were really tested with Webflow. Like this is going to be the one where we're going to reach the boundaries, in terms of like uh, uh, what Webflow can do. So it was a big build.
Where did you feel the boundaries being stretched?
There are some things, a lot of things that we kind of found were they're still in Webflow's kind of development log. It looks like they're on the wish lists, but things like pagination for blog
Yeah.
pages, we had to kind of build from custom. Um, uh, Trying to think of some
Yeah,
others. It wasn't a lot of
I
stuff,
also
but
had experiences where I had to kind of build features with like, for example, nested collections and stuff like that. But my experience was like I got a developer and got it done in like 20 minutes. So like with the
yeah,
custom code. So eventually that was like
that's the same.
super fast.
We brought in the real dev scientist to kind of come in and you know look under the hood and add some custom JavaScript, which is where I get lost when I get into JavaScript world.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
I
want to
can't do
touch it.
that at all. Yeah.
No. So yeah.
Awesome, dude. So really great talking to you. I'm really again super inspired by the work that you're doing. You're always pushing the limits of web design in general and what's been possible with Webflow. And so for me, it's like huge inspiration to see where you guys are taking your work, and I'll be following. So thank you so much
Cool.
for taking the time for
Thanks,
this
man.
talk
Thanks
for
for the
sharing the
sweet
story.
words and keep making cool content. We need more designers out there talking the game. It's good to see someone out there making content every day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Bye. Talk to you
All right,
soon.
all
Bye.
right. Talk later. Bye.